Hey folks, if you caught my recent short, you'll see that I had an 8-inch floppy drive that I just recently acquired. And I had no 8-inch computer equipment, and I thought it was awesome. I got it at a great price. It was only 35 bucks, which anymore is pretty good. This thing, the floppy drive itself, weighs a good 20 pounds. And then I got lucky enough to acquire something else. You know, I couldn't test this. It has no, other than I could put power to the spindle motor and spin the disc, because it's 120 volt. But I acquired something else recently. I got also at a great price something I can put this in. I got this. Now this is a Radio Shack Model 2 disc system. Now it came with the TRS-80 Model 2 business computer, or you could get it. The Model 2 business computer came with a 8-inch floppy drive, and if you had the money or the need, you could buy this sucker. This is a 3-disc expansion unit. As you can see, this one already has one floppy in it. I got it at a fantastic price. And I tell you what, the condition it's in is amazing. You know, a lot of Radio Shack stuff early on had this silver color on it, and boy did it rub off of the computers. And anytime you see them online, they're usually beat up, the silver's rubbed off, and you have to do a lot of work to make it halfway decent looking. But this one, there's just, you know, there's just a couple of bumps here and there. This metal casing, this high textured gray, it feels a lot like an old-time typewriter. This, I don't know how much this weighs, I really don't, but it's got a lot of heft. I'll bet you it weighs, I don't know, 50, 60 pounds at least. It was not easy to carry in from the UPS truck. And another thing that I really like, looky here. This sticker is unbroken. This thing has not been opened ever, other than when a Radio Shack Service Center did it. Now, I know that they usually come with one of these as a warranty sticker, but you can tell there used to be a sticker below it. So it was opened. I don't know if that means this was an empty case when it was new, and they opened it, put in the one floppy and put a sticker on it, or it was repaired. But the thing is, since this is unbroken and it's a Radio Shack Service Center sticker, still this thing has not been opened in 40 years, I would say. It's awesome that the thing is so hefty that each drive needs a fuse. It has a couple of things wrong with it that we're going to take care of today. The data cable, which I do have the data cable that came with it, but as you can see, it was torn off. That's one, you can tell by the design of it how easy really that could have been done. This was supposed to take away being able to tear at it and help protect it, but the thing is that if you took the cable back this way and tore it, it would almost tear like a piece of Reynolds wrap. You know, it gave it a nice tear place, and apparently that's what happened. But they did still have this. We're going to repair that. And another thing it has is somebody put this on it. At first I thought that's probably for a broken switch, but right, if you were writing something to a disc and somebody accidentally hit it, yeah, you'd probably screw up that file. But this has been on here a long time because the glue's turned to powder. Look at that. Well, the switch is still there. It doesn't feel broken. I bet you that's why they put it on then. This is to make sure nobody turned it off. And it's been there all these years since somebody actually used this. It looks like the power light LED is missing. It's probably been shoved in, either the mount broke, or sometimes they would actually take the LED and wedge it snugly into this hole, and that would be the only way it held it, and somebody might have popped that back in. But since this hasn't been opened, it's got to still be in there. And at the bottom, the case is loose. I don't know if we broke on a mount or something down there. It looks like we have. I think I see a piece of plastic here that should be easily fixable. But I tell you, it's other than that, wow, what great condition. So let's take a look at it. Now I know there's no computer to go with this. Now, I got this, but of course for this to work, it needs to be connected to a Model 2. I don't have a Model 2 yet, but this came at a great deal, an incredible deal. So it doesn't hurt to get this part first. Do a little repair on it and have it wait. Flip it around. Because just like Model 2s, you don't see these hardly at all, much less one that's really cheap and in fantastic condition. I couldn't pass it up. My wife would probably disagree, but some people just don't appreciate the classics. Now we gotta take them off the back too. Boy, it's protected. It's a plain case. I mean, it's a square. There's no detail to it at all. But, well, unscrewing this screw popped the Don't Tell Radio Shack that I accidentally broke. I'll never get my warranty. Because I tell you what, I guarantee you, no matter what, there's a doggone reefer cap in here. And stupid me, on another repair I've been doing, plugged it in for like 10 minutes before, poof, there went the reefer cap that I could have just replaced right off the bat. Oh, the whole, okay. I didn't know the plastic cover came off of the front with it, so here we go. Well, I'm gonna have to watch out because boy, what is going on with this? Sorry guys, I'm trying to get the lighting and the focus. It's just big. I gotta watch out for the power switch, which is right there. All right, here we go, folks. Holy cow. Oh, I know, I'll have to move you around so you can take a better look. Yep, there's the LED. Just sitting in there, just like I thought. There it is. The LED does just go into a friction fit. But I'm trying, it will not stay. We'll put a couple of dabs of glue on it and stick it in there. First, I'm going to make sure it works. I don't want to glue it in and find out it's dead. But here we go. Power supply. Look at that bus bar on the end. Holy crap. And yeah, look. Disaster. Disaster right there. We're going to replace that right off the bat. And then we're going to hit it with some air, do a little cleaning. As you can see, here's the... Oh, good. It's got the cables here for the drive from Radio Shack. The fan seems nice and loose. Wow, this is awesome looking. This power supply is awesome looking. Well, we're going to have to unbolt it from the back so we can get that reefer cap out of there. Hold on, let me get it out. Oh, here it is, folks. Look at the size of these diodes that are on these heat sinks. That's insane. See if we can get a little dirt off of here. Holy cow. See, look at this reefer. All cracked and ready to cause severe depression. So we're going to get rid of that. Okay, what I'm going to do is just take this one off. Gee, that was tough. 2 movements and it was off. And as you can see, just like all of them, look, it's cracked just like the other one. I mean, it's just like the one I just showed you. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, here it is. See all the cracks in the casing right there? Just like here. It's just dying to ruin my day. And I'm not going to let it. So, don't need that one. This one, I see cracks in its casing too, of course. Like I said, I'm going to be a good boy. This is a replacement for it. I'm going to desolder that one and actually put a replacement in there. Heck, who knows? With all these giant motors in here, maybe this thing actually would cause some electrical interference. Try to see which part of the circuit board it's on. I see it. It's these 2 guys right here. So we're going to take those off. First, the easier way to take it off, the old solder does not melt as easily. So what you do is you add some modern solder to it. So you're actually going to put some more on. And it's going to mix with the modern solder. And then when you want to take it off, it'll come off much easier. You should really always do this with something you should take off, is to actually add solder to it, let it mix, and then it will come off. Hopefully, hold on. It's in a tight spot, and I'm going to put the forceps on it so I can have a good handle on it. So. And there we go. See all the cracks on the side? I don't know why this camera's having so much trouble today. It doesn't matter the size, it's the type. It will go. Like I said, I do have a replacement for it, and I'm going to try to be a good boy and put one back on here. And that should do it. Alright, hopefully, unless there's some capacitors that are on the edge of leaking, but I've been giving it a gander and looks like I see no bulging, I see no chemical stains or leaks. I am not one to replace capacitors unless I really suspect a problem is a capacitor or I see evidence of leaking. I'm not one of those people that says, hey, let's change all the capacitors. Simply because every time you desolder and resolder in a new part, you have a chance of damaging the board, damaging a trace. And if there's nothing wrong, there's just no reason to take that chance. There's a lot of boards out there just can't take that kind of work on them. So I'm no longer of the thought of just replace all the capacitors. That's just nuts. I've got some stuff that's 50 years old, still runs daily on the same capacitors, and if they blow then I'll replace them. Yeah, try to remove some more of this dust. That's a fair amount better. Look at the size of this capacitor. Let me get you a little closer. You gotta. The only time I see them this big anymore, look at this, is when I'm looking inside of an air conditioner condenser. It's like a large start capacitor. It's probably the way it is. So the motor doesn't drag down when it starts up, or have too much draw on the power system. Alright, that's pretty clean. Let's bolt the power supply back in. You're probably going to go, this is your crappiest video yet. It's never in focus. You're always pointing at the wrong thing. Man, I should have been doing this from across the room. Let me get a power cord and plug it in. I know we've got some repairs to do still, but if you're like me, you want to see if at least the fans run, stuff like that. Make sure that the power supply is okay. See, it's plugged in. I think the other side of that cable is plugged in. Hold on a second. You need to say hello to my boy. He's a good boy, him is. He helps keep me company when I do all this, even when I'm cussing. Okay. Let's see what happens. Oh, the LED still works. Ta-da! Fans are running. Yeah, and these old ones, the spindle motors ran all the time. Okay, it looks like the extra drive that I bought isn't going to fit in the unit, at least not for now, simply because this is from an earlier configuration of the disk system for the Model 2. This connector is the same, the card edge connector is the same, but this is different. This doesn't exist in the power cable that goes to the power supply on this. At first I thought this drive might have went for something else, like HP had something kind of similar for an 8-inch at the time. But when I investigated a little further, it's actually a drive from a Model 2 disk system before the one I've got right now. So it's not going to work, at least for now. If I wanted to modify it, I could put it in, but it does look different, and I don't know if I want to bodge the wiring harness for the power supply. That's why I like to do what I do. I like to keep things the way they were, unless it's absolutely necessary. So we won't worry about this, but we will keep repairing the unit. And that would be the poor broken cable. Now I tell you, I was wondering what I could do to merge it, and there's really not a way to easily clamp them together or anything. But what's good is, look at the length. This is the part that came off. Look at, I don't know if you can see how long this is. This thing is enormously long. Sorry. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to carefully take these sockets off. I'm going to cut this short, make it nice and even, and carefully try to reinstall them onto what's left. There is so much left. I can easily put it in here, and it could easily reach a Model 2 pretty much anywhere you want, above, below, beside it. This is hugely long. They must have expected this thing to like be on the floor, way away. But it's a hell of a lot of cable, and I think I can do it. I've done it before. You've just got to be super careful about taking these apart. These clamps on the side want to break if you sneeze on them. The things are fairly easy to put back together, and I'll show you how. You've got to do it with a vise. You cannot crunch them together or use a pair of pliers or anything unless you want to ruin it. I'll show you what we do. So first, let's unclamp this guy. There we go. And we're not going to need that. Next, though, what we're going to do is cut this flat. We got to make sure that we're past any parts that are splitting like this. There's nothing damaged about it. It's just the fact that the socket end has got to go, the connector end has got to go back on here very carefully. Anything in the wrong place is going to screw it up. So first, we're going to cut this carefully, nice and even. Check and make sure none of this is coming apart. Nope, it's all still solid. I'll show you what's next. Yeah, these are a little heavier duty than the ones I'm used to in a floppy. How about that? Usually on the sides there's very fragile tongs that connect to this, and you got to pry them back slightly and then pull it apart. If you pry it too much, they break off and it's screwed. The thing never wants to hold together again. But this one's apparently nothing but a friction fit, so not bad. You got to be very careful. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can be even more careful by just doing this. Don't worry if some come out, as long as you don't lose them. They go back in. I got it. It's now aligned with all the others. See, you got to be careful with these things. God. All right. Now, see, there's plenty of gap in there. Now we're going to feed this through. All right, it's in. But is it in properly? Well, squeeze it down slightly. Try to get it aligned visually as much as you can. You really can't put it in the wrong place unless you really try, because the back end of this connector has a channel and the cable barely fits in it when it's nice and straight. Make sure it's straight. Apparently I cut it slightly off. Give it a slight squeeze. Make sure you're holding it tight. Still holding it tight, still holding it tight. Make sure the entire socket is in the jaws of the vise. Okay. You can't move right now. I'm going to double check and make sure this daggone thing is in here right before I squeeze it. When I squeeze it, it's on. And if you have to move it, you'll have to move it down because you created perforations. You're going to have to cut off a piece. The thing will end up just getting shorter and shorter. And we're going to slowly, you might say, oh my God, this is a delicate thing. Why don't you have something soft in the vise? I've done this several times, and what I found out is if you put pressure on it evenly, unless you just really torque down on it, you really don't hurt it. Now, one thing you got to do, you do have to keep torquing down until the two pieces merge. So I'm giving it some juice here, that's for sure. Because remember, it's basically an interference fit. The fact that the teeth go into the wires is pretty much what holds it together. I'm giving it just enough of a snug there. Now I'm going to back it off and see how we did. See, look at that. There is no damage there. There's not a scratch. Nothing here. I think we've got it good. I really do. And there's no damage to the socket. All right, now I just got to do it to the other two, and we've got ourselves a cable. Now, one thing I did want to mention though, while it is easy to line up the flat cable, get into the channel here, this thing has got to be completely straight. If it's slightly crooked, you may not even notice. But if it's slightly crooked on the ribbon, it might look okay where it fits in the channel. But if you looked at the connector teeth, you'd see that not all of the wires are lining up. They will line up if you got this thing basically perfectly perpendicular to the direction of the wires. Okay, she looks good. 3 connectors again, and with plenty of cable to go to a Model 2 that might be in my future someday. So we'll just put her in here. There. Give it enough cable so that it would actually hook up to 3 different units. And fold it back. And fold it over here. Make sure you don't end up putting a screw through the cable. Well, there we go. A floppy drive ready. Ready for what? Who knows? I don't know when I get a Model 2, but I'll have this ready. And actually, I never showed you, but with this deal, oh man, I got everything at a great deal. I did get the keyboard. And you're going, well, what the hell? What's the keyboard going to do? Well, if you ever take a look at Model 2s that are being sold online, for some reason with the Model 2, the keyboards are absolute beat to death. Tons of the keys are gone, or most of the silver finish has been rubbed off, and just all sorts of stuff. I've seen so many where the unit looked okay and the keyboard just said, help me. So that will be in case I either find one that doesn't have a keyboard, or one that has a keyboard needs to be replaced. So Okay. Really, the only thing that's left is try to get this LED to fit tightly in its cabinet. Okay, for the LED, I just went simple and put some super glue around the base of the LED and put it in. And basically the same thing here. When I showed you the cover was coming loose from the outer shield, it was, let me see, it was this guy. It was broke. I super glued it and let it sit for quite a while. It seems decent enough. Well, of course, we can't forget the drive itself that's in here, so I'm going to put some light machine oil on the worm drive. Just a little bit. And turn it back and forth. It moves pretty well. Not bad at all. Okay, the only thing I have to do after that is clean the head. My arms will probably be in the way, so I'm going to do that off camera and I'll be right back. Alright, I got the case on. Power light showing up. Hopefully I've got the case glued decently over there. Let's see, I don't know if it'll come off very well. Get some nice propyl alcohol on this glue. Yeah, that seems to be coming off. Just takes a little elbow grease here. Whoa. Takes a little color right off the case too. Well, that's about as good as I can get it, I think. Okay, she's back together. We've got a nice new data cable ready for awesomeness when it gets connected to a Model 2. Let's see how she sounds. Sounds like I'm starting a generator, doesn't it? Well, too bad I can't really test the ability of the discs. I mean, I've got a disc, of course, but it doesn't mean anything. It's gotta be hooked to something, of course. So, right now that's it. It's a great thing. I know we didn't do a lot to it, but it needed some work. Let's see. catch you next time.